it's very important, in my opinion, that we understand 155 pounds for what it is, not what we want it to be, but what it really is, which is a division that does not have a champion. And we all forget that. We all think Charles is the champion. Guys, we're doing that to be nice. We don't like the way that scale business went down. We don't like the fact that he had a fight where the opponent could be champion if he won. Charles did when he doesn't become champion. We don't like it. So we're kind of just sweeping it. As a way of serving Charles, we're doing that to be nice. I think it's a mistake, and I think you're underserving him. Now, I spoke to Ali. Ali made a very interesting point, and he was very kind as it pertained to Charles. Ali even used the term, we respect him. That we that Ali's talking about is his team. He's talking about Gaethje. He's talking about Usman. He's talking about Khabib. He's talking about Islam. So we respect him. It appears that Charles really wants to fight Conor McGregor. We think Charles can get that fight. Give him a little break. Don't make him go fight Islam now. Let him do the Conor business. The other side of that, we do not feel that that should be for the World Championship. Let Islam go and have a fight with Benny Darush. Let that be the world title fight. Now, I ask you to hold that thought, because if you do want to serve Charles, he wants to fight Conor. That is a life-changing night. Red Panty Night is very real. To sell to the audience that that's a world title fight, you absolutely could do, but you wouldn't have to. And that's what Ali's point is. And Ali does stand strong, and he practices what he preaches, which is play all the games you want in your career. When you're the champion, you fight anybody. And that just got tested with Ali. I mean, not for nothing, there was big talks of Chimaev versus Usman. And you remember 3 months ago, people thinking Chimaev's going to go beat Usman. But Team Ali, Team Usman, said if he's the guy, bring him on. So I bring that to you because it's one thing to come out and say it, but when your feet are to the fire, do you live it? Yeah, they do. Yes, that team does. They firmly believe the champion's got to fight anybody, and right now Charles isn't wanting to do that. He's not as interested in an Islam match. He said, look, we get it. He used the argument, we don't want to go to Abu Dhabi. Fair enough. The truth is, it's possibly the hardest opponent that possibly isn't as recognized by you guys. So he's trying to go in another direction. Ali said, let him go. Now, I just thought this was interesting. Ali wasn't making a big thing about it. I just thought conceptually, because I forget too. I'm the first one to come and tell you guys Charles is not the champion. I forget too. We keep acting as though he is. Every picture that I see of Charles posted on, he's still got the belt. And I don't think anything of it. And we do that to be nice. We're attempting to give the conclusion that we wish was accurate, but guys, it's not. And you might be serving Charles better. You would not have a pressure on him. If he wanted to go out and fight Conor McGregor and he's the champion of the world, that's a problem. We understand it. Big money night, we understand it. But first off, you're going to have to wait. We're going to have to slow the division down because we don't even know when Conor's going to come back. And secondly, to not take on the true contenders, it's just going to be a little bit of a problem. When you can get there, Ali solved it. He really has. Now, while you're having that dialogue, could you get Conor in there with Oliveira if the belt's out up for grabs? I think that's a hard one. Well, why would Conor want to do that? Right? I mean, Conor has to get something. If he's going to go out and find the hardest possible guy, he should get a reward. So I understand, but Michael Chandler is now getting in front of this one. Right after Ali made this statement, I'm bringing you news that's 3 days old, guys. But this hit the internet, and it kind of went away. I think there's potential legs to it, or at least I believe Chandler thinks there's legs to it. If anybody has the right to an opinion, to understand what's going on around him, it's a top contender like Michael Chandler, who went very heavily after Islam. That was a surprise. I loved it. It was a pleasant surprise. I have not seen Chandler do anything that I've liked in a month. I love it. The reason it was a surprise is, first off, Chandler appears to have some pretty good business going with Dustin Poirier. Chandler, when he won his fight, called out a number of guys, but they were all mega fights. They didn't have to be championships. He called out stars. He wanted some mega fights. A lot of eyeballs on him. Islam represents the opposite. One of the reasons I respected it so much. Islam will go on to be a star. I'm sharing with you right now. You put Chandler versus Islam. Chandler is the A side. For sure. And I believe the whole reason Chandler's doing it is he thinks that Ali could be onto something and that Oliveira is going to go over here with Conor and that somebody else is going to contest the championship. Now, guys, I don't. If you want Chael to make a prediction, that is not going to happen. If Oliveira gets the Conor business, they make that for the belt. Wherever Oliveira goes next is for the belt. There's actually a rule. I have the foggiest idea how this got pushed through and somebody could catch it. It's a mistake. It is written poorly. It is written wrong. But the rule states nonetheless, if you're in a situation like Charles was last time, where you're the champion that misses weight and you now have to vacate the title, if you go and do the match anyway, which he did against Justin Gaethje, and you win, you must be part of the next title match. It says must. It's a mistake, and I don't think anyone's going to hold them to it. But I'm sharing with you my own prediction. No, Oliveira's going to go and fight for it, but that doesn't make me right. And the guys in the locker room within the division, they're the ones that know. And I do believe that Michael Chandler put the full court press on Islam because he saw this and he saw an opportunity. Nobody calls out Islam. And quite frankly, Chandler only calls out big names. He's just at that point of his career. Look what he's been through, world title fights. Look what he's been through, Madison Square Garden, fight of the year. Look what he's been through, one of the biggest stars in the history of the division in Tony Ferguson. Yeah, man, you get addicted to that, but he went a different direction. The question's why? I mean, do we really believe that Michael Chandler wants to fight Islam? No. No, why would you want to fight Islam? And the same could be said when you think Islam wants to fight Michael Chandler. I mean, that's like a really hard night. What are we doing it for? What's on that? And Chandler only had one of two possible strategies. One is that he heard what Ali said. He thought there was some legs to it, and he was trying to make sure that he's half of that unification belt. Or two, he'll do the next best thing. He knows that that's would at a minimum be a number one contenders match. But it was a compelling call at it. If you look at 155 pounds, I don't see a lot of guys working these strategies. I've seen Gaethje called out a couple of times. Gaethje doing a couple of interviews, right? Fiziev calls him out. But then a reporter that was talking with Gaethje brings up Volkanovski, which, by the way, is gaining some legs. Don't miss what's going on with Volkanovski. Okay, he says that he wants to go up to 155 pounds. Now, he wasn't bullish on it. He wasn't defiant, but he said it. Dana got asked about it, said, yeah, I'd let him do it. Well, that all gets dismissed. You have a really hard time gaining any traction. If you officially vacate, if you officially make the announcement, it's a totally different story. But if you're a 45-pounder and you're poking your nose at 55, which you don't have a contract, you don't have an agreement, and doesn't look like 55-pounders can't call you out. It's just a rule in the sport. You just don't call out guys lighter than you. And I will share, when Volkanovski started, what was it, 2 weeks ago? He was completely dismissed by fellow 55-pounders. Well, now they're speaking up. Matter of fact, Coach Javier Mendez, Islam Makhachev's coach, did an entire interview on this. Talked about a potential matchup. Talked about where he thinks Islam's strengths are as it pertains to Volkanovski, right? I mean, everything has to start somewhere. And I'm only sharing for you that Volkanovski did not get very much traction because he was not defiant. He did not demand anything. So we were a little bit unclear. We dismissed it, but so the guys in the division. That's changing. That's changing slowly, which if you come back to my initial premise, don't forget, there's no champion at 55. I understand we're rewriting it. I understand we're giving it the ending we wish that it had, but guys, it's not true. There is not a champion at 55. That opens massive opportunity. Not just for somebody like Volk to slide up, not just to be able to go make any match you want, but A side and B side, red corner and blue corner. You really, I mean, if you're a painter here, you got a wide open canvas for how you want to do it, but we can't get anywhere if we continue to demand or forget that, Oliveira is not the champion. And I really do think if you listen from my perspective and you look at how all sorts of doors are open for Oliveira, they're not necessarily his champion. You got to take on the top guy. If you're not taking on the top guy, you got to take on number 3. Champion only takes on guys in the top 5. It just limits you. In many ways, you're serving Oliveira better if you do recognize that title is currently vacant.